I have said before that I have wanted to tell y'all a little bit about the lore of Elden Ring and about Malenia's lore, and I've never really gotten around to doing that on stream, and we're gonna do that today, because this past week I beat the boss, and there's so much I want to talk about. But I figure it's about time we talked about my girl that I am suffering for. Here is my girl. She is my favorite girl in Elden Ring. I love her so much, and we're going to talk about her today. Okay, so Elden Ring 101. There is this huge family of demigods. So if you're not aware, George R.R. Martin actually wrote a lot of the, or he didn't write it, he, helped a lot with, I guess he wrote some stuff, too. He was, a consultant on the game, right? And he came up with a lot of this lore for these demigods. So there is a lot of George R.R. Martin-y stuff in it. But basically, at the top of this family, we have Marika. Marika is God, okay? Marika is mommy. Marika is God. Alright? Marika had a bunch of children with different people. So she's got a lot of children that are full siblings and half siblings. So, the order of which these siblings came out, we're not super sure of. But we know that with her first husband, whose name was Godfrey, they had at least 3 children. They had Godwyn the Golden, who you do kind of meet in the base game, but not a spoiler, in the first, cinematic that they released as a trailer for the game. Favorite girl, Ronnie is crying. Okay, listen, here's the thing, though. I also love Ronnie. Here's the difference, okay? I would want to marry Ronnie, but I would like to be Malenia. You get it? I would marry Ronnie. I don't know if that I would marry Malenia, but I would be Malenia, which is a lot to say. So Marika, Mommy Marika, and Godfrey had Godwyn the Golden, who was this perfect son, who, in the first cinematic trailer for the game, was killed in the Night of the Black Knives by the Black Knife Assassins. Semi-spoiler, this was orchestrated, not illustrated. This was orchestrated by Ronnie. Ronnie killed her brother Godwyn. Ronnie does not have the same father as Godwyn, or the same... This is where it gets complicated. So, Marika and Godfrey also had Morgott and Moog, and these two are twins that are cursed by omens. So they have, horns and stuff, and they were not perfect children, so Marika shoved them away in the subterranean shunning grounds under the capital. So they had pretty lives. Okay? Then, this is also a spoiler, but Marika had this great champion called Radagon. And Radagon, who was a god, went and got married to Renala, who was head of the Carian royal family. And Radagon and Renala had 3 children, General Radahn, Praetor Rykard, and Lunar Princess Ranni. And turns out Radagon is Marika. There is some... In this game, there are more than one character who have both a male and female form. So, Godwyn's mom is also Ronnie's dad. Okay? So then, Radagon leaves Renala to go back to Marika. And Marika and herself, Radagon, they are the same person, somehow have at least 4 children at some point. Melina, Mesmer, though Mesmer's older than Melina, we know that. Mikola, and Melania. And because Melania and Mikola were both born of the same god, they are both born with afflictions. So Mikola, his affliction is that he is eternally a child. He is a child. And he has to go through a whole bunch of stuff to not be a child, and all of that is the stuff in the DLC. The DLC is about Melania's brother, her twin brother, Mikola. Melania's affliction is rot. Melania's body, since birth, has been rotting from the inside. And at some point, Mikola, with his Mikola magic, was able to do something with a needle to make it so that she, to suppress the rot. But Melania is missing, because the rot has consumed a lot of her body. She's missing an arm, she's missing her sword arm, and she's missing one of her legs. And her face is all messed up. It's all kinds of stuff. The thing about Melania, though, is a big thing that happens in her life is at some point she gets a prosthesis for her missing arm. So she gets a fake arm, and she finds a teacher who teaches her a way to fight that allows, the way she fights staves off the rot. And the explanation for this, there's an item description that says, as water, just like how water fouls when stagnant, rot is taken away through movement. And it basically is comparing, when you leave water in one spot, water will foul, water will get gross. But if there is movement, that water will not rot. Interestingly, her big, unfair move in her boss fight is called Waterfowl Dance. So, Waterfowl Dance is this ridiculous move. Now we're talking about gameplay, okay? This is just gameplay lore. First of all, Melania's title is the undefeated swordswoman. So let's put that into perspective. She's been rotting since the day she was born, is missing an arm and a leg, and is the undefeated swordswoman. Her title is also Blade of Mikola. She also gets the title Goddess of Rot. So she's just everything, and I love her. And she is also, until the DLC came out, she was also considered to be one of the hardest bosses that FromSoft has ever put out there. I would say the DLC boss is worse than her, but she has this one move called Waterfowl Dance, which is where she jumps into the air. She lands on your head, she does a big flurry, a second flurry of attacks, and then jumps on you one more time and does a third flurry of attacks, and it's really, really hard to dodge. It is possible to dodge it, but you have to be on, light rolls, which in Elden Ring, depending on your equip load, okay, you get a different roll type. So, and the rolling is how you dodge. So if you're overloaded, you do a heavy roll, which people call it the fat roll. And it's just a really slow roll that sucks to do. Nobody likes the heavy roll. You can also do a medium roll, which is what most people do. But if you have light load on your equipment, you can do a light roll, and a light roll will actually let you dodge Waterfowl Dance, but you still got to know the timing. I spent probably 100 hours fighting Melania because I was trying to solo her. And something I did, and this was back when the game came out, so this was a couple years ago. One of the things you can do in Elden Ring is you can summon other people to help you with a boss fight. So these are real people, real players that, put down their little summon sign, hey, I will come help people with this boss fight. And one of my problems was I really wanted to solo her because I wanted to prove that I could do it. But my problem was she is just a boss battle that takes so much patience because you have to respect her. It's almost like you're dancing with her. And there's a lot of Souls bosses that are like this, but she is especially one because when she hits you, she gets health back. So not only do you have to wait for the right opening, because there's so many of her attacks that will just destroy you, you also have to take every opening you can get and also never get hit, or you're going to be standing there for hours just fighting her by yourself. So what I ended up doing years ago when I was trying to come to this goal of soloing her was I started to get summoned by other people and help other people fight her so that I could practice her phase 2, which is where she does mostly the same moves, but there's also a Scarlet Rot status effect. And the Scarlet Rot is the rot that she has. And it's like one of the... It's basically like a really, really high-tier poison effect. So it just saps all of your health really quickly, and if you're like out of healing, you're just dead. Because it'll get you. And then she does a couple other moves in phase 2. But I love her. I've fought her hundreds of times years ago. And I have also defeated her with other people probably over 70 times. And I know this by how many of a specific reward item that I have in my inventory on the character that I did all this on. So I've still never soloed her by myself, mostly because I don't have the patience, because it takes a really long time. But I have killed her at least 70 times, which is pretty cool. Okay, so now let me tell you about her brother, Miquella. So her twin, Miquella, cursed with eternal youth. As such, he is weak, and his sword is his twin sister. So, what ended up happening in this family? Nobody really liked each other, for obvious reasons. The three siblings from Radagon and Renala were pretty different than the siblings from Godfrey and from Marika and Radagon, particularly Ranni. And at some point, Marika, who is God, and her source of godhood comes from the Elden Ring. At some point, Marika shatters the Elden Ring, and we enter into the age of the Shattering, which is where the game... It's not where the game starts, but it happens, and then lots of other stuff happens, and then the game actually starts. Basically, when the Elden Ring was shattered, each of the demigods, so each of Marika's children, got a great rune, which was just part of the Elden Ring. So they all got shattered pieces of the Elden Ring. Some of them kept them, and some of them discarded them, and some of them fought each other. So obviously a big thing that happened is Ranni killed Godwyn, who is the perfect baby boy, because Godwyn was a good candidate to become the next god after Marika. Ranni was also a very good, candidate to be the next god. But Ranni didn't want any of that. So Ranni's body, the blue body with the witch hat, that's not Ranni's real body. Ranni's real body is dead. So when Ranni killed Godwyn, she also killed her own body, but killed Godwyn's soul. Ranni did this because Ranni's ultimate goal is to purge the world of all that came before and get rid of the Golden Order, which is Marika's order. But Miquella, Malenia's twin, had some very strange plans. So Miquella has the power to basically charm people with his love. The one ring to rule them all. It's not actually a ring. It's like a big, weird thing. It's a strange concept, but it lives within a person. Like, it needs a vessel. So the Elden Ring, like, needs a vessel. Don't know why, but that's a thing. So Miquella his plan was, and also in all of this, there's a big tree called the Erd tree. And I don't have a whole lot to get into with that, but Miquella wanted to make his own Erd tree called the Halig tree, which is what is on the back of this cape. This is the Halig tree. This tree that we haven't even... This is just a decorative Celtic knot surrounding the Halig tree. The Halig tree is right here in the middle. This is the Halig tree. That's what's on the back of her cape because Melania is loyal to her twin brother. What Miquella does with the Halig tree is he grows this tree to be a second Erd tree to usher in his era. And what he does is he basically cocoons himself in the roots of the Halig tree so that his body can grow into an adult body so that he can reach his full power of godhood, right? Well, turns out this plan is actually very complicated because what happens in the base game that never gets explained until the DLC is Miquella is actually stolen from his cocoon, and his cocoon is like where you fight Melania. He is stolen from his cocoon by Mohg. Remember, Mohg is one of Godfrey's children, and Mohg steals him away to the Mohgwyn dynasty, where you, the player, eventually kill Mohg, and we really never... And Mohg wanted him to be... Like, Mohg wanted... There's this concept of being... Like, somebody's the god, and then the, like, husband or spouse or wife of the god is called the consort, and that person is called Elden Lord. So if you pick Ronnie's ending, you become her lord, right? Well, Mohg wanted to be the lord to Miquella. He wanted Miquella to be the god, and Mohg was going to be his lord. So, gay incest. Okay? Mohg wanted gay incest. So, in the base game, when you get to Mohg and you kill him, nothing really happens. You can go look at Miquella's cocoon and his dead body, but you're kind of just like, gay incest with no ending? What the f? Well, Miquella is the DLC, okay? And I think I'll stop there with Miquella, because then I have to spoil the entire DLC. Thanks for watching this year-old Patreon stream re-upload. If you want to see the Patreon streams actually live or in full, then you can check out my Patreon because you can get access for just $1 a month. And a big thank you to Mel, or Pocket Leaves, who's editing these streams down for me so I can focus on my main channel videos. You can check out Mel's work on either their channel Pocket Leaves or Pocket Cons, and sometimes you'll even see me in their con vlogs. It's a special occurrence when it happens. But as always, if you're just watching, liking, commenting, subscribing, then you're supporting this channel too. So thank you. Bye!